I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is PsycHacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is how relationships work. So I'm going to be talking about some fundamental precepts with respect to understanding relationships, especially sexual relationships. These general principles reveal why relationships are formed and how relationships are maintained. Trust me. If you just watch one of my videos, this is it. If you understand these principles, you will have much more satisfying, successful relationships of all kinds. And if you act in spite of these principles or pretend they don't exist, you're going to feel frustrated, heartbroken, and despairing. And you'll probably blame the opposite sex or the world at large for your lack of success. These principles are axiomatic. That is, they are self-evident and don't require additional proofs. They are true in all relationship dynamics, and they are non-negotiable. We can either choose to act in line with these precepts or against them, but we cannot change them. Understand? Great. Let's get to it. So the first thing you have to understand about relationships is that people approach people who have things that they want or need. As I write in my book, it's neither the good, nor the loving, nor the virtuous who are desired for relationships, but the people whom others want things from. If nobody wants or needs anything from you, you are going to be alone. Why? Because people don't move toward people they want nothing to do with. Now, because people have wants or needs that they desire to satisfy, they approach specific people for relationships because they believe that they have the means to satisfy those wants or needs. If you do not appear to have those means, then the people with those wants or needs will not spend time with you. This is because doing so would come not only with the pain or distress of leaving those wants and needs unsatisfied, but with an opportunity cost as well, as there are other people in the world who could satisfy them. So it's a double liability for others. This means that in order to be approached for relationships, you have to at least appear to have what other people want or need. And of course, even better if you actually have the means to satisfy them. However, you must also understand that the person who actually has the means, but who doesn't seem to possess them, will hardly be approached for relationships more often than the person who neither has nor seems to have them. That's just the way it is. To maintain a relationship, you need to actually have what other people want or need. But here's the real paradox, the real tragedy of human relationships. If you give people what they want or need, then they will no longer want or need you. As I say in the book, no one continues to pay the plumber. You've undermined the basis of the relationship in the dischargement of the relationship. It's totally messed up, but that's the nature of things. And it's why relationships are so difficult to maintain in the long term. We enter into relationships because we want or need things, but when we receive those things, we no longer need or want the relationship as much. And as I've said before, the game does not run on gratitude. A lot of people get this wrong. A lot of people think that because they've gone out of their way to satisfy the needs or wants of the other, sometimes at great expense or sacrifice to themselves, that this will secure them continued relationship into the future. This is not true. Nothing guarantees continued relationship into the future, but the best way to increase the likelihood of continued relationship into the future is to continue to possess the means that will satisfy the wants or needs of others. If you're interested in taking your understanding to the next level, I would encourage you to check out the Captain's Quarters, my members-only self-improvement community. Your monthly membership will get you access to a cadre of like-minded, supportive individuals, bi-monthly group consultation sessions hosted by yours truly, and exclusive content that you won't find anywhere else. Click the link in the description for more information. Hope to see you aboard. So let's recap. If you don't have what people want or need, they will not relate to you. However, if you give them everything that they want or need, they're also not going to relate to you because you've made yourself obsolete and redundant in the dischargement of the relationship. On the other hand, if you never give them what they want or need, then they will eventually get sick of dealing with you and seek out other possible relationships to satisfy those wants or needs. They might try for a period of time to acquire the means that you possess to satisfy their needs or wants, but for whatever reason, if you are unwilling to give them, then they will eventually get frustrated and leave, especially when presented with an alternative that promises a greater likelihood of success. So these are the three main obstacles to continued relationship. In the first place, it ends before it begins when you don't have, or at least seem to have, what other people want or need. In the second place, it ends if you give people everything they want or need. And in the third place, it ends if you never give people what they want or need. So far, so good? Great. Because if these statements are true, then they collectively suggest a pathway to continued relationship. Namely, you must only gradually satisfy some of the wants or needs of others, while simultaneously continuing to retain possession of the means to satisfy other wants or needs. It should go without saying, but this is a very tricky balancing act, which is why so many relationships fail. Many people can't figure out how to manage this balance effectively. It's kind of like this. In the act of satisfying any want or need, it's imperative that you ensure other needs or wants remain satisfiable with the means you still possess. And as people typically don't arrive in relationships with inexhaustible needs or wants, this often requires the active cultivation of desires in others. If that sounds a little nefarious, that's because it is. But the alternative is to believe that people who no longer need or want anything from you will continue to relate to you simply because you've satisfied their needs or wants in the past. And this, my friend, is not how people operate. Think of it in a professional context. Clever employers have learned to diversify their corporate structure into exceedingly complex hierarchies. One reason they do this is because they can gradually satisfy employees' desire for promotion. Remember, if they never promoted an employee, he or she would probably jump ship eventually, while simultaneously ensuring that employees still don't possess a subsequent promotion that the employers control. Whenever a carrot is removed from the stick for consumption, it is immediately replaced with a new carrot. These employers satisfy the desire for advancement while simultaneously cultivating a new desire for the next promotion. And this is one of the best ways of ensuring a workforce of dedicated employees. Pretty sneaky, huh? All voluntary relationships, including sexual relationships, are no different. The satisfaction of every desire must be accompanied by the cultivation of a new one. Satisfy every desire once and for all, and you have succeeded in transforming yourself into a liability, as the other person would presumably continue to satisfy your needs and wants at a loss to them, as they will no longer be compensated by the satisfaction of their own needs or wants in the relationship. Never satisfy the other's desires, and you'll encounter a high degree of turnover to competitors who indicate the possibility of satisfaction. Understand these principles and thrive. Ignore these principles and suffer. It's that simple. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments below. And please send this episode to someone who you think might benefit from its message. I know you know somebody who struggles with this, who needs a clear framework to understand how relationships work. Send it to them, because it's word of mouth referrals like this that really helped make the channel grow. Other value propositions. Anyone looking to join my free weekly newsletter, for which I write original content, or book a paid one-on-one consultation with me, can do so on my website. There's also my best-selling book, The Value of Others, in which I explore the economic model of relationships, and my private member community, The Captain's Quarters, where I host bi-monthly group consultation calls and Q&As with invited guests from all over the internet. Check it out if you are so inclined. The links to everything are in the description below. And as always, I appreciate your support, and I thank you for listening.